Hey everybody, this is Joey Evans, and right now I'm going to talk about a top 10 boss battlers. And this is a list they did earlier here, and I was not in it, but boss battlers, man, I love boss battlers. I'm looking through, I've got some good ones. I've got some that I was kind of like, maybe I'll put it in, but then I decided to put it in because it's my list. And this is where really I'm looking at it, is boss battler is it a big part of the game? And if so, I put it in there. If it's one of the main parts. Well, anyway, let's get started with my number 10. All right, so my number 10 is the only solo game on the list. I haven't double checked, but I think so. Anyway, I don't usually like solo games, but this one is a boss battler where you're pretty much battling the killer. This is Final Girl. Final Girl for me it's fantastic. The whole thing is the fact that you can mix the area, you can mix the people, you can mix your character, you can mix the boss. Everything is so pliable where you can put it all together and create your own game. Now this is a solo game, and I mentioned before that we actually have 4 core boxes. So normally we only use 2, but my wife and I, when we play this, we'll play this across from each other and we'll try different people. And that makes it more, for me, interactive and fun. So if like I get killed early, I can check on her and then go back and forth and we'll swap who we're gonna play. This game is great. There's a campaign, a bit of a campaign book that goes with it. It can be really brutal. And it gives me that old school horror feel where you are trying to beat that boss who's just a stalking bad guy. I mean, this is a boss battler in a horror movie. This one really clicks for me. This is my number 10, Final Girl. Okay, my number 9, this was the one I was hesitating putting in or not, but this one, it's more of a progress-based game, but at the end, it all comes down to beating the boss to escape. Where do you escape? Well, you escape the Dark Castle. I am a huge advocate for this because this one, I know there's a lot of luck in this. It's very story-driven. I love the old school RPG art in this. It just gives me that old feeling of those RPG games that honestly I wasn't allowed to play growing up. But now I'm playing them because now I can. Now I'm my own boss. So it's pretty much you are in a dark castle and you've been wrongfully imprisoned and you have to make your way through. And you keep flipping over those cards and you read what's going to happen. And what's interesting if you play this with a group is whoever reads the card, it matters. Like, as it says, the monster attacks you. So it'll come at you. So you take the first hit. So you want to be the strongest person to walk through that door. And then at the end, you hope you've leveled up and you've gotten enough stuff throughout your escape through the dungeon to go into that last boss battle, see what he did, and be able to win and actually escape the Dark Castle. This is great. This is as close to living an old school RPG you can get with cards. And again, it comes out very quickly. It's a great end of the night thing, and you've got fistfuls of dice. I love it. This is Escape the Dark Castle. Okay, my number 8 was a surprise for me. This was on Kickstarter, and I actually played it pretty much later. Too late to get my own copy, but this is one that I really enjoy. This is Leviathan Wilds. Leviathan Wilds is almost... It's funny how everyone puts it in that boss battler category because it does feel like a boss battler because you've got those huge different animals that you're trying to repel. This is mixing repelling with boss battling, which is crazy. But you're repelling up those animals, but you're kind of helping them. So it's almost like your boss grooming type thing. It's a very, very weird because you're knocking these things off, but it's a very interesting mixture of things in this. This one surprised me. The artwork in here is incredible. And the different decisions you have as far as jumping around, trying to get those crystals off. This one really sings for me. And again, the production looks fantastic. And it's one of those very unique games that once I played, I'm like, I've never really played something like that before. So this is something to check out if you haven't looked at it, but this is Leviathan Wilds. Okay, so another dungeon crawl, but a dungeon crawl that ends in a boss battle. It's all about the Elder Gods. This is Cthulhu Death May Die. Cthulhu Death May Die is all about crushing monsters. It's got great minis and it's very challenging to win. Unless you use Rasputin. I love Rasputin. If we play, Rasputin's mine. Total dibs. I love this game. This is great because it all comes down to the end, trying to beat that Elder God, and if you actually can, feels very rewarding. This game is fantastic. It's one of those that I've kept up with. I've actually just backed the new season. I think it's 5 and 6. And I'm going to keep doing it. I don't know and I don't know what else they could do. And the new one, oh, not to spoil it, the new one's got some really cool mechanics in there. But it's cool because the game feels different as you swap in those new bosses. And that's what gives a lot of variety to this game. And because those are such a central part of this, I put this as number 7 on my boss battling list. Cthulhu Death May Die. Okay, now we finally have a comic book game on here. Not that one. No, not that one. No, not that one. This one is Freedom 5. Freedom 5 is not a Marvel or DC property. This is kind of from Sentinels of the Multiverse, so it's kind of a universe that was put together for that game. But then also Freedom 5 makes it into a boss battler because you are trying to get all these people that like Tachyon, who is similar to the Flash, and you can run around. Then you've got Bunker, who's very similar to Iron Man. All of this. That's what I like. I like the feeling of this because, again, it's not a Marvel or DC IP, but you get to get those characters, and then you are trying to defeat a monster. Now, see, defeat a boss. It's not the only thing, of course. There's a lot of other things that go into this, which I think is why I enjoy it. It gives like almost a pandemic feel. It kind of almost mixes Marvel United and Pandemic, or sorry, Marvel Champions and Pandemic. It feels really good to me. This one, I like it a lot. The box is huge if you get the miniature version, but the whole thing is, at Dice Tower West, I played the standee version, and honestly, it was fine. It's the exact same game, and I love when they do that. So this is Freedom 5. Okay, my number 5 is, well, it's back to a comic one, and this one actually does have a Marvel IP on it. I don't see CG a lot, but I LCG, and this is Marvel Champions. Marvel Champions, again, it's a boss battler, because this one right here, you choose who you're going to go up against, and then you get to choose your Marvel Champion. What I like about this is, first off, Final Girl is a solo game. This one really works well solo. I hesitate on saying it's best solo, but maybe the gameplay is best solo on this, although I do like this at more because I do like playing with other people, but it does flow really, really, really well solo. This is one that I will keep up with. I'll buy the characters that I want, and I love about an LCG that you can just see what you like and go after it. I don't deep dive as much as some, but I love seeing how asymmetric these characters are. And if you do lose to a certain boss, you're like, you know what? I'm going to come back with a different superhero, and we're going to try to run this back and see what happens. That's what I like. I think this really hits the table well. This is great. This is Marvel Champions. Okay, so my number 4 is it's another boss battle with an app. The app is not really that necessary, but hearing the narration on this is really what makes the game sing for me, and this is Oathsworn. I mean, the voice work on this is incredible. It feels so good. The story gets you involved. It's not, some story-driven games, they kind of blah. The story just like, okay, it's very either generic or it's not well written. This one, you feel good. And also the fact that it's a campaign style game, but it's only about 20 missions, which is achievable, right? You can actually do that. That's not like one of these 1,000 mission things. And every time at the end, there's a big bad, a big boss. And those miniatures are fantastic. To the point to where I even have those up on my shelf because now they're all painted and they just look good. And you can go back and then run through a couple other missions if you want to fight somebody again. This is a huge surprise. I bought it on a whim and I just love this game. So this is Oathsworn. Okay, next I have a little bit above Oathsworn just because I think it's more of a boss battler because this one gives you that boss in the center. Everyone is just battling the boss, and this is Primal. Primal is fantastic. You've got that boss in the middle, very Thanos Rising or whatever Rising style that turns around. You're on the outside. The monster is going to attack in different ways. It also upgrades itself. You've got certain quadrants over here. Different quadrants can actually give you maybe cover, things like that. So you are all trying to coordinate and attack this huge monster in the middle. Now I played Witcher Old World, which I do like, but this one itself is just a better boss battler because it comes out and you just go at it. It could be a campaign or it could be a one-off. I do like that a lot. You plan your attack by moving, attacking. You're going to coordinate with different people by moving to different quadrants and hitting. The only problem with this, and first of all, I shouldn't say it's a problem, it's number 3, But I wish there was an acrylic version, a standee version of this, because I don't want to own everything, but I do want to own everything, and I'd like to own them all as acrylics, please. Could we please do that? I would like that very much. So that is really, really what I would like to see in this, because the game is fantastic. And I love when you see minis that are this well done and there's a great game underneath it. And Primal has it in spades. Okay, number 2 is one that I almost forgot when I was putting together this boss battler list, because I was like, I just didn't think of it as a boss battler, but it pretty much is. And it's one of my favorite games of all time. But then they did a little tweak and came out with a new edition that uses everything and makes you battle bosses. This is Unmatched Tales to Amaze. Unmatched Tales to Amaze takes everything you love Unmatched, whether it's Jurassic Park, Invisible Man, everything. You bring it together and you have got a boss battler with an old school movie feel. I love that. Whether you're going to Aliens or whatever, I love the feel of this game. And I love how, again, modular it is. You can pull in all of your different Unmatched and bring them in. And again, I've said before, I love the fact that people that don't like that head-to-head still can play those Unmatched characters and use them in this world. This is Unmatched Tales to Amaze, and I think it's a fantastic boss battler, and I can tell because it's my number 2. All right, and now my number 1. My number 1 boss battler is one that surprised me, but it gets a lot of play at my house because my family loves it. We have so many boxes of this because it just hits a table easy. It's a Marvel IP, and this is Marvel United. It should almost just be called United, because I am looking forward to DC United. This is simple. It's so thematic. It's icon-based, so everything flows so quickly. And again, everything plays so asymmetric, whether it's the boss in the middle or all the different heroes. Everything has their own kind of flair to it, and nothing overcomplicates. Man, this is a great, great system. I love Marvel United, whether it's the X-Men, whether it's DC, whether it's whatever. I love this system of being able to just modular take out other bosses. It's really, really good. So that is my number 1, Marvel United. Okay, so those were my top 10 boss battlers. Feel free to comment. Let me know which ones I missed. I haven't played all of them, but I'm always looking for a good boss battler. So I'm Joey Evans, and I'll see you later on the channel.
Hey folks, thanks for joining us for that video. If you haven't yet, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hey, make sure you check out what's happening, where I'll cover an app on an iOS or a Switch device, and you can check it out along with me. Thanks very much. You've been watching The Dice Tower.